ready to be accepted for initiation in the near future, were so horrified, as I've said, when they learned about the destruction of their chief. With the destruction of this, at that time, sole initiate, there was lost to them forever the possibility of becoming initiated into these secret instructions of Saint Lama. Owing to the fact that the destruction of their chief proceeded so unexpectedly, that sole remaining possibility became even doubtful for them of receiving these instructions by communicating with the reason of the destroyed chief, by means of the process, the sacred almsnoshino, for the existence of which they not only knew the possibilities, but they also had in themselves all the data required for such an actualization. You probably, my dear boy, know nothing yet about this sacred process. That process is called the sacred almsnoshino, by means of which three-centered beings who have themselves already had time to coat and to bring their own body kesjin up to the completed functioning and to a definite degree of reason, intentionally produce the coating, or as it is otherwise said, the materialization of the body kesjin of any being already entirely destroyed, to such a density that this body acquires again, for a certain time, the possibility of manifesting in certain of its functions proper to its former planetary body. This sacred process can be produced upon the body kesjin of that being who also during his existence had brought his higher being body up to the completed functioning, and in whom in addition the reason of this body had been brought up to the degree called the sacred being mirozino. In our great universe, besides the process of this intentional coding of the being body kesjin of an already destroyed being, another process exists called the most sacred Jerimetli. And this most sacred process consists in this, that when there is intentionally first produced the coding of the highest being body, namely the body of the soul, only afterwards, as in the first case, is the sacred almsnoshino produced. It is possible, of course, to produce both these processes only in that case, if such higher being bodies are still in those spheres contactable by the sphere of that planet on which these sacred sacraments are produced. And in addition, these formations, evoked intentionally and consciously by definite beings, can exist and maintain connection and communication with them only as long as the beings who produce these formations consciously feed the body kesjin with their own sacred Aisachlatan. Thus, those 6 remaining members of the small group of 7 might have had recourse to this same sacred process almsnoshino for communication with the reason of their destroyed chief, if they, having foreseen the possibility of this sudden decease of the chief, had made beforehand, while he still existed, a certain preparation necessary for completing this process. In order that you may understand about the essence of this preparation for the sacred process, the sacrament almsnoshino, it is necessary for you to know about 2 particular properties of the being handbledzoin, the blood of the being body kesjin. The first of these properties of the being handbledzoin consists in this, that if any part of it be separated and removed, then wherever and however far it may be taken, a thread-like connection is formed between this part and the fundamental concentration of all this cosmic substance, in such a way that this connection is formed of the same substance, and its density and thickness increase and diminish proportionately with the distance between the fundamental concentration of this substance and its separated part. And the second particular property of this Handblättzoin consists in this, that when it is introduced into the fundamental concentration of this substance and has mixed with this primordial concentration, it is distributed in it everywhere in uniform densities and in uniform quantities, wherever the given concentration may be, and in whatever quantity this same Handblättzoin might accidentally or intentionally be introduced. And so, in consequence of the fact that the body Kesdjan of the being is coated with those substances which in their totality make this cosmic formation much lighter than that mass of cosmic substances which surrounds the planets, and is called the planetary atmosphere, then as soon as the body Kesdjan of the being is separated from the planetary body of the being, it at once rises according to the cosmic law Teniktoa, or as it is sometimes called, the law of gravity, to that sphere in which it finds the weight proper to it equally balanced, and which is therefore the corresponding place of such cosmic arisings. Then, in consequence of all this, the preliminary preparation consists in this, that beforehand, still during the planetary existence of that being, on the body Kesdjan of whom it is intended after his decease to produce the sacrament of the sacred Amsnoshino, a particle of his Handblättzoin must be taken, and this particle must be either kept in some corresponding surplanetary formation, or be introduced into those beings themselves who produce this ritual, and intentionally blend with the Handblättzoin of their own body Kesdjan. In this way, when the three-brained perfected being foredesigned for this sacrament Amsnoshino ceases his planetary existence, and his body Kesdjan is separated from his planetary body, then, thanks to the first particular property of this being Handblättzoin, that connection begins to be established about which I have just told you, between the given body Kesdjan and that place where the particle of his Handblättzoin was preserved beforehand, or those beings who intentionally coated this particle in their own bodies Kesdjan. In order to be clear in our subsequent talks upon this question, you must now be told just here that the said connection, one end of which is kept in the body Kesdjan, which has risen to its corresponding sphere, and the other end of which stays either within those surplanetary formations in which the particle from the general mass of the Handblättzoin of the given body Kesdjan was fixed, or in those beings who intentionally blended the Handblättzoin of the given body Kesdjan with the Handblättzoin of their own body Kesdjan, can exist in space only for a limited period, namely only until the completion of the appointed movement of that planet on which the given being had arisen around its sun. And at the beginning of such a new completing movement, the said threads completely disappear. And they disappear because in the atmosphere surrounding all planets, the evolution and the involution of cosmic substances required for the great cosmic Trogoautoegocrat, in accordance with the fundamental sacred cosmic law, Heptaparaparshanoch, again commence flowing only for the Trogoautoegocratic process of local character, i.e., within the limits of the given solar system's what is called own activity, and in consequence of which all, without exception, of the cosmic substances which happen to be in the given atmosphere during the period of this movement, and among them the said connections